So you want to fix that hole in your bumper you put in for your exhaust? Guess what? Me too. And that's why you're here. So we're going to go ahead and get into fixing that. Okay, so like a lot of you know, I had the bumper exit exhaust on my car. Awesome, great, but I've had some complaints, obviously, from the older crowd, which I'm old, but they're older and they're, complaining about it. And I kind of am on the same page. I want something a little more comfortable, a little more subtle when I drive this car, okay? So this is what we're gonna do. We have drilled a huge hole in this bumper. Look at that thing, okay? So now we have to figure out how to fix that without ruining a nice 03 Cobra bumper. Now I will say these bumpers are kind of a dime a dozen anymore, but I still don't want to have to try to source the wrap to rewrap it. That's a pain in the tail. So what we're gonna do here is kind of think outside the box. Now most people will sit there and add like a filler or just put a plug in there and kind of do some kind of plastic weld maybe. But I kind of have a different idea that I think for me will work, and it may work for you, and it's semi-simple. Now, this may be quite contradictory for you, but to fix that big hole in the bumper, we're gonna put more holes in it. So what I did is I just looked up a bunch of different little options as far as like maybe plates over the hole. And I got to thinking, I was like, most of the car has like a carbon fiber theme on it. So why not continue that theme? Well, got on Amazon for about 13 bucks. Found some carbon fiber sheeting. Look at that, it's all pretty. Yeah, you can kind of see the label in there too. So here's the sheet right here, okay? So what that's gonna do, and that blue hue in there is just a film that's over the carbon fiber sheet. Now this sheet is true carbon fiber. Now the thing is the measurements, I went ahead and just basically did something that I could cut in half and use on both sides of the bumper to kind of give it a semi-aero look to it, but also split it up to where it's not going to look out of place. Now, as far as the measurements go, that's something you're gonna have to go with on yourself. I went with, I believe it's 8 inches by 12 inches, so I'm gonna split that in half and go on both sides of the bumper to kind of tie it in side to side. But this is 0.5 millimeter thick, which is roughly around 20 thousandths thick. Now that doesn't seem like much. That's about 2 playing cards thickness. But carbon fiber is pretty strong stuff. So this is kind of the goal. We're gonna take this, split it in half, and then we're going to make kind of like a plate here. But we're going to shape it to where it kind of comes up and follows the body line through here, all the way through. Now you're also wondering why we're gonna put more holes into the bumper. Well, this is how we're gonna do it as well. Another Amazon find, black-headed rivets, okay? These are aluminum base. You don't wanna get a steel because they will rust, but the aluminum base will work out just fine for you. 10 bucks, okay? 10 bucks. So all in all, we're going to be able to cover / repair this hole in the bumper. Make something that's kind of still follows the theme of the car and has more of an aero look to it for around 25 bucks. Now, like me, if you're on the cheap end of things, of course, it works out great for you. Now, you may want to color match. You may want to do a lot of different things. That's up to you. Now, this works for me. Now, this is my plan, okay? I'm going to take this thing, cut it this direction, and that right there is going to take up all that height that I need in the actual bumper to follow a body line. I'm going to make a template to fit the bumper how I want. And I'm gonna put basically it's gonna be split here. It's gonna come across and kind of curve down and just kind of do this. You don't want any jagged edges or anything, but it's gonna have like a rivet, rivets. Now I also have a sheet of this stuff. This is textured ABS plastic, but it's pretty thick. It's like, not really focusing, but it's like 1/8 inch thick. Now, normally something like that would be okay, but the problem is the bumper is going to flex at a different rate than that ABS plastic will. And plus it's going to become brittle. So, especially in the cold months that we're hitting now. So you want something that's going to be more flexible, but strong as well. And that's why I went with the carbon fiber in the 0.5 millimeter. Now you can go 1 millimeter, 2 millimeter, go to whatever thickness you want, but this is going to work for me. Also, with me being able to drill the rivets out, if I want to change it up later on down the road, I have that option, and I'll still have that as a template. So we're not only fixing and repairing or covering up a problem that we created ourselves, we're also going to plan for the future if we do have other changes we want to make. Now look at this stuff. That is sweet. Pure carbon fiber sheeting. That's gonna work great. And look how thin. Well, you can't really see it. And look how thin. That's about 20 thousandths. And like I said, that's about 2 playing cards thickness. And it's extremely versatile and strong. So this stuff's gonna work wonderful. It's gonna be rigid, but it's gonna flex. It's not gonna become a problem. Now I will say, trimming this stuff, cutting it, splitting it, cool, it works. But you better have either some good tin snips or some rowdy scissors, because I've already broke one pair. Even at 20 thousandths thick, this stuff, it's tough. You could also use like a Dremel and a cutoff wheel. It's probably the easier method, but it's tough. All right, so number one thing is we got to drill these rivets out. Get this old trim ring off. All right, so we got the old trim ring off of there. Now it's time to just pop those rivets out and make our template to follow this body line as well as this body line, and you come down. And like I said, we got the rivets out. So now you gotta take this plate, kind of follow the body line and cut it to make it work. And that's where the template that I mentioned earlier comes in. Now I've made my trim templates for both sides. As you can see here, it's gonna look pretty good. So it's gonna go from this to something like this. Well, it'll look a lot better once it's riveted and everything. But it's gonna follow the body line, and I think it's gonna look pretty good. This right here is a little bit better representation, but it's obviously not fit perfectly right. But you kind of get the idea. Now we're gonna drill our holes where we want our rivets. These are 1/8 inch rivets. Okay, so we got it all cut, trimmed, done, drilled, riveted, whole deal. So we started off with this, and that being the super sweet trim ring right here. Now, the thing is now we have this. And once again, it's not super awesome, but it really does look pretty good. And you can add stuff to it. You can make a canard, you can do a lot of arrow stuff with it. You can add to it, but at least it covers that nasty little hole in the bumper, because we've swapped this thing to a catback exhaust from the bumper exit. So now that was my quick and cheap way to make a repair, to make it basically not so much of an eyesore. So don't forget to like and subscribe, because I do plenty more shady stuff like this all the time. So we'll see you guys in the next one.